Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about the latest movie from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Avengers Infinity War. Set to release early tonight and this weekend, the fans are getting pretty damn excited to say the least. I know I'm pretty damn pumped to see it. I'm going tonight in fact. And actually, me and the boys are going to be doing a live stream after watching the movie, later tonight. It'll be around 11:30 p.m. Pacific time right here on No Bullshit. So come back later on tonight if you're interested in watching. But let's get to today's story first. Looks like not everyone is thrilled to see this movie finally coming out. As you might have guessed, SJWs online are already attacking Infinity War before it's even released. Why, you might ask? Well, according to an article from Hornet.com, Infinity War has a big problem. It's lacking queer characters. That's right, the SJWs are already crying about diversity. And since Marvel has pretty good representation for females and minorities, it looks like queers, gays, and trannies are the next demand they're going to make from this film franchise. Lefties are never happy, are they? Well, I guess we should go ahead and check out the article and see what the fuss is all about here. It's called "The Total Lack of Queer Characters in Infinity War Indicates a Problem in the Comic Book Industry." Check this out. A few days ago, queer cartoonist Kate Leth made a clever Twitter quip about the lack of LGBT representation in the new movie Avengers Infinity War. But Leth's been in the industry for a while, including time spent working at Marvel, and she took the opportunity to explain why there aren't any queer characters in Infinity War. Last Tuesday, Leth posted this tweet: 400 characters in Infinity War and not a single canon queer. Sounds like the worst party ever. Actually, Infinity War sounds like the best fucking party ever. It sounds like the best movie ever too. So I don't know what the hell this pink-haired feminist is talking about. And I love how the article tries to build her up as this legit, official voice to the comics community. Please. I doubt she's anything more than a diversity hire. Forced diversity, which, go figure, she's also trying to push into the Marvel movies now. It's all about the numbers with these kinds of people. SJWs don't care about the characters or the content or the story. No, they don't care about the quality of the movies or the talent of the actors either. Hell no. All SJWs care about is so-called diversity, which is really just a front, because they don't really care about equal and fair representation of everyone. If they did, they would have levied similar complaints at the Black Panther movie for not having enough white or brown people, since his cast was a majority black, of course. But no, more blacks and browns are A-okay. Less whites is always preferable. Diversity is code for anti-white, let's not forget. And that's why I think this SJW obsession with diversity isn't about equality or even a realistic representation of things. No, they would prefer all women or all minority, gay, trans, queer fests for all their movies. And you know why? It's because those groups are actually very small subsections of America, especially gays. Gay and lesbian people only make up about 4% of the United States population. That means if there were 400 characters in Infinity War, only 16 of them would likely be gay statistically. So even though the SJWs would have you believe America is gayer and browner and blacker, it's really not. They're just being a bit defensive and a bit weak and insecure about their own obscurity in the big picture of the United States. Reading on, not just a solid joke, but a good point. As Leth's tweet went viral, there were a few replies. People asked about Valkyrie, played by Janelle Monáe's gal pal Tessa Thompson, who is queer in the comics, but as Leth replied, if it ain't in the movie, it ain't canon. And she was backed up by another Twitter user who said, especially when confirmation is deliberately cut from the film. Well, it looks like having gay and lesbian characters isn't even enough. They also have to confirm and demonstrate their gayness or it doesn't count. Prove yourselves. And this is really asking for a lot from these movies. It's almost like, oh wait, yeah, SJWs can never be pleased. First they want gay representation, then they want gay kissing and gay sex. Next thing you know, the whole movie is a gay Avengers musical, probably moving Hawkeye up to lead character, since he looks the part the most, you know? And this sounds ridiculous, but I'm sure SJWs would go this far one day, if allowed. They've already done similar outrageous things to ruin the Marvel comics. And the movies are next if we don't keep an eye on them. And back to her tweet for a minute. Does this really imply straight people can't party? I know gays are the best wedding planners and event planners, but they don't have a monopoly on fun or parties. And this isn't from a garden variety Twitter user. Kate Leth knows comics. She started out as an independent web cartoonist and moved her way up through the industry. She was behind the sadly short-lived Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat series for Marvel, plus well-known titles like Vampirella and Adventure Time, and her own creator-owned titles Power Up from Boom Studios, School Spirit, and Spell on Wheels from Dark Horse. So basically she's done nothing anyone has ever heard of. Got it. I'm sure she really worked her way up in comics fair and square. No way she slept her way to the top. And she definitely wasn't a diversity hire for being a female, and a pink-haired queer feminist one to boot. Bullshit. Come on, Hornet.com. You really can't believe anyone's buying this crap. This is a shit-tier, low-level, probably shouldn't even be their comic books employee. The only reason anyone even knows about her is these SJW tweets she's firing off. And she's got even more bullshit on her page too since this article. Tweets like, I had fun trolling a homophobe with pictures of Stucky, but the irrefutable truth is that Bucky Barnes and Steve Rogers have made sweaty, beautiful love several times. Ew, that's an awful image that won't get out of my head anytime soon. But here's something equally gross to take our minds off of it. Kate tweeted a selfie saying, "At the very least, I'm cute. I don't know about all that. I wouldn't say you're ugly either or hideous or anything, but it's just, well, all that makeup and colored hair and shit kind of makes you look like a clown, Kate. Kate the clown. Got any gigs at some kids' birthday parties or something this weekend?" Also, the drawing in this chick's profile pic, it doesn't really look like her so much. How do I say this nicely? In real life, she's a little bit huskier than that drawing. Oh, and she also tweets, "It's a good day," and a little boring story about her eating a cherry. Looks like her Twitter feed ranges from out-of-control left-wing communist SJWisms all the way to makeup-covered selfies and inane banter about what she eats. I really don't get why this chick has 65,000 followers. This does prove my prevailing theory about Twitter though. It's for idiots, and anyone can get followers on there. Sure, it's got a few good people to follow too, and a couple good places to get news, but 99% of Twitter is just garbage. But let's not stray too far away from the story here. Back to the article. Let's use her background to go into a little bit more depth about the homophobia of the comics industry. Here we go. And the entertainment industry in general. In a series of tweets she wrote, "I know things are changing, but man, it bums me out that in 2018, it's still near impossible to get queer characters in mainstream franchises. I had a corporate executive once tell me over the phone, you can't make that character bisexual. You understand, right? You understand? And part of my spirit broke that day." Well, for starters, I don't believe that story happened. If it did, there was probably a reasonable explanation for why that executive nixed this idea. I can think of one off the top of my head. Making characters bisexual for no reason is pretty dumb, and no one wants to read that. And it's also a little dumb to pander to the small and insignificant gay and queer populations. Like I said before, don't forget, only 4% of the country is gay. That's about 13 million people. Sounds like a lot, but there's another 300 million straight people in the United States. And of those straight ones, I'm willing to bet more than 13 million would get turned off or pissed off if gays were forced into their movies and comic books like this. So that means from a business standpoint, pandering to the gays will actually hurt your product more than it will help. But SJWs don't care about those numbers. Oh no, they don't care about viewers or making a profit at all. All Leth and her liberal cohorts care about is the numbers of women, minorities, and gays in popular media. It's a really selfish and childish way to think about things. Instead of making movies of their own, for their own demographics, these weak women want to invade other people's more popular spaces. And worst of all, these demands would ruin the stories. Things would change so much and get so wrapped up in the gay shit, the movies would be unwatchable and terrible. I really don't think Leth and the writer of this article thought things through here. It is understood that big budget movies won't include LGBTQ+ characters, because they won't sell in homophobic countries, and we're all supposed to accept this? I don't. There were queer characters in Ragnarok and Black Panther, whose scenes were cut. Oki was awkwardly made straight with a plot that went nowhere. Loki exists in subtext. It's bullshit, pardon my French, that we're supposed to go, oh yeah, of course, because of money. Jeepers. I didn't expect her to openly admit it's not about money or success for them. What really is this about then? I think maybe Leth just wants the attention. She sure wants attention with her looks. That's why she's got bright colored hair and makeup. She's peacocking. And Kate Leth also wants attention on Twitter. That's why she's pushing these leftist diversity agendas. But at the end of the day, she doesn't really care about the art of this. The movies, the comics, the TV shows, and their stories, those things are secondary to these SJWs feeding their egos, and usually overfeeding their mouths too. Leth did point out that she had some more positive experiences with other smaller titles. Comics are definitely an exception. I was allowed to make Plum queer in the Bravest Warrior comics, but not the cartoon, she says. We agree with Kate Leth. We deserve canon queer characters in Infinity War, as well as the rest of the Marvel Universe, especially when they're queer in the comic canon. Marvel's flirted with Deadpool's pansexuality, but we're not sure if we'll ever see him get a same-sex love interest on the big screen, even though Ryan Reynolds is down. Gross. And this all just sounds so sad to me. I mean, the whole point of being an artist and being creative is to make new things. Making interesting, different characters and stories has always been a goal of mine in that regard. But this weird little SJW feminist can only think of one thing. She wants gay and lesbian characters in her works. She wants every character ever to look, sound, and act just like her. A bit self-centered, you have to admit. Sure, lots of artists draw from their own experiences, and plenty have told their own autobiographical stories of sorts. But they also told other ones too. This Leth chick just seems to be completely fixated on making queer characters like herself. It's all she ever tries to do or bring up. The SJWs want their pink-haired feminists in everything, and it really needs to stop. Before I go though, how do we even know there aren't gay characters in Infinity War already? I don't get why SJWs just assume they're all straight. Just because they don't have any flaming, flamboyant queens on the Avengers? That doesn't mean there aren't still queer people in there. Take War Machine for example. He could be gay. As far as I know, we've never seen him prove he's straight, so he might as well be gay, right? I know the SJWs say they need a sign to confirm confirm gayness, but that's not really a fair ask if you think about it. I mean, they didn't need signs to confirm all the characters were straight, so why should we need proof that they're gay? Believe it or not, the Avengers have more important things to worry about on screen than to talk about everyone's sexual preferences. And if the SJWs are going to assume the characters are straight, I'm going to assume some of them are gay, just to piss them off. Like, how about Loki? That girl mentioned it before, and he looks like a pretty boy, queer eye for the straight guy kind of host to me. I bet Loki loves the dick, and that's already 2 main Avengers we found out that are gay. And 2 out of 22 is a pretty good representation if you ask me. It's almost twice as much as the 4% in the real world that's gay, that's for sure. But we all know even if this were true about Loki and War Machine, them being gay wouldn't be enough. They would have to be flaming gay lovers who have butt sex on camera. Then they would want War Machine to paint his armor rainbow colored, and Loki would have to dye his hair pink. And then no one would want to watch the movies either, so what's the fucking point of all this? In the end, SJWs can't be pleased. They will find a way to complain about everything. This time it's wanting to see more queer characters in their movies. Next time they'll want Iron Man to transition into a woman, and Thor to dabble in bestiality or some other degenerate nonsense. Fortunately though, Marvel Movies has been smart enough to not allow this to happen so far in their cinematic universe. Although their comic books have totally been taken over by pink-haired feminazis like Leth from today, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is still safe from that silliness, for now. What do you guys think? Is the lack of queer characters in Infinity War really problematic? What heroes do you think could possibly be queer already? And what's your favorite character from the Avengers of all time? Mine's Spider-Man. I've always loved the web swinger and his funny quips, and it's great to see him finally join the Avengers in this new movie. Comment your thoughts on everything below, and don't forget to come back tonight for our live stream. We're going to be seeing the Avengers later tonight, and me and my buddies Connor and Miguel are going to talk all about it in a podcast later. So come on down, say hi, and leave us a question. It'll be a lot of fun. Until then, thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time.